Okay, here we go. Let's expand our exploration of water dynamics to include the unique water characteristics in males and females. There is a very unique way that water dynamics play out in men, and there's a very unique way that the water dynamics play out in women. There are different characteristics for males and females. Now, in my unique role, I get to hear what it's like for women to try to navigate men and what it's like for men to try to navigate women. I get to hear both sides. And from this unique perspective that I'm in, I get to relate that to the wanter. And one day, I had this realization that this is very universal and it goes way, 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 way back. So one day I was just imagining all the way back to the beginning of the human species. And in those times, let's take an example. Let's say it was a northern hemisphere group of people, a tribe, and it's, in wintertime it's cold and living in a cave. There's no running water. There's no indoor plumbing. There's no grocery store. There's no clothing store. There are no stores. All day long, the tribe would have to divide up the various tasks to try to survive. Conditions that had survival needs presenting themselves every day. The need for water and something to burn, wood for fire, and shelter inside the cave, and food sources, and wild animals might attack us, and unforeseen things every day. Now, if we take a look at what would have naturally happened, the females, because they're the ones that have the babies, they're going to have a very unique orientation where they're learning how to transcend their wanter every moment when their baby is crying and they're tired and they don't want to have to tend to the baby. They're having to transcend their wanter and take care of the baby anyway. Otherwise, there would be no survival of the humans. The little babies would have all died. So the females had to start transcending their wanter, let their needs go for the priority of the baby. So many moments, because the men, let's say, were out on the hunt. All the men went out on the hunt to hunt down some sort of animal so that there could be meat for the winter. So the men are out on the hunt. The baby needs tending to. The women are transcending their wanter by prioritizing the baby's needs over their own needs. They're also, while the men are out on the hunt, making sure that there's fresh water for the tribe, firewood, berries, nuts, whether the roots and things over by the river that we pull out that can be eaten, and tending to the elderly that are sick. And the average age span was much younger, probably about 35 is the best guess based on the skeletal remains of the early humans. So we need more humans for us to be able to survive. So the ability to have a baby was very prized within, very, very valued within the tribe. Seen as a great gift that can be given. And so the women are honored for that. And they're very naturally transcending their wanter and learning how to take care of the babies and take care of someone else's babies. Let's say she's sick and she's having a hard time. The other women would pitch in and help with the other women's babies to try to ensure the survival of the tribe. We need more humans. So the women are very much multitasking, taking care of many things and caring about the men that are out on the hunt. Are they okay? They haven't sent us any smoke signals lately to let us know they're okay. We sure would like an indication that they're okay out there. So they're caring about the men. Are the men okay? Are the elderly okay? Do we have enough water? Is there enough wood for the fire? Do we have some berries? Do we have some nuts to sustain us until the men hopefully come back with some sort of, downed beast so that we can have meat for the winter? Now, this is a different orientation for the women than it is for the men. The men, they're having to stay very narrowly focused when they're out on the hunt. They've learned this over the years, that if they got distracted and let their mind focus on other things, they might lose track of where that beast is, and the beast might circle around and eat them. So they developed a mind to stay very narrowly focused on the hunt and not let themselves get distracted. There was no side talking during the hunt because it could give your position away. So there's no conversations going on. There's just quiet. Now, if any signaling needs to happen, it would be happening with like hand gestures and things to not give a position away. But otherwise, the men are staying very narrowly focused on where that beast is, to then down the beast and bring back the meat for the winter. This would be very also prized and valued for the tribe, for the men to get a beast. So we have food sustenance for the winter. We have all this meat that we can have throughout the winter months when it's hard to find other things to eat with the snowfall and things like that. So it's very important that they stay very narrowly focused. So when they're out there on the hunt, the men, imagine if we walked up to one of the men and tapped him on the shoulder and said to him, "So how do you suppose the women and the children and the elderly are doing back in the cave?" "What women? What children? What elderly? What are you talking about? There are no women. There are no children. There's only the hunt. Get out of here. You're distracting me. Now I've lost track of where we don't let ourselves get out of here." It doesn't mean they don't love and honor the women and the children, but right in that moment, they're not even in their awareness. They can't let that be in their awareness. They have to stay very narrowly focused on the hunt. So the male mind was developed in a way to stay very narrowly focused. The female mind, however, very multitasking orientation going on for the women. Caring about the babies, the other women's babies, the elderly, the water, the firewood, the berries, the nuts, all of the other things that are going on. So if we then bring this to modern day times, and I hear all of the things that men say to me when we explore together about what is annoying them about their female partner, and I get to hear from all of the women what is annoying them about their male partner, we get to see that part of it is this that's just in the biology, that was just came down through the ages. Two different orientations. The male mind in general, these are big brushstrokes. These are big brushstrokes that I'm doing now. But the male mind tends to be very singularly focused. And when the male is on the hunt, whatever that is, whether he's at work or doing his work from home, he's very narrowly focused on that. If he's playing golf or he's on a fishing trip or, on a camping adventure, he's on the hunt. He's narrowly focused. So all the time I hear from men what it's like for them that their wife is contacting them when they're at work or out playing golf. Mitch, how can she not understand that I'm playing golf? Or Mitch, how could she not understand? I'm at work. Why does she need me to text her back? And if I don't text her back within 10 minutes, she gets all upset. And then I start getting texts like, well, what is this? Do you not care about me anymore? Do you not love me? He's like, this is so confusing. It's not that I don't love her. I'm just having to stay focused on my work, or I'm focused on the golf hole. I'm trying to get par here. And she's texting me while I'm playing golf, or I'm on my fishing trip, or whatever it is that the man is doing. His mind tends to be more singularly focused. For the female mind, they can't understand, why is he so narrowly focused? How can he not see that the trash has not been taken out? We've agreed that he's going to do that. And Mitch, I have to constantly remind him about the trash. How can he not see that the trash needs to be taken out? Mitch, this is so annoying to me. And all the other things around that. Why do I always have to ask him about, putting his dishes in the dishwasher? Why does he never help out? Why do I have to do all of that? Why do I have to take care of the cave? Why does he think it's just automatically on me to take care of the house? And for the men, I hear Mitch, all she does is nag me. She doesn't notice any of the things that I do. She doesn't even give me any credit for the ways that I, do my work, or do things, that she doesn't even notice that I do. I don't get any credit at all. It's never enough. All she does is nag me. It's never good enough. And then when I want to be intimate with her, she's not interested. What's going on here, Mitch? Why does she not want to have intimacy with me? And they don't understand what it's like for the women. It's completely different for the women. For women, they want the man to be interested in the things around the house without having to ask them to do it. Mitch, how can he not see that floor is such a mess, and I'm busy right now doing 50 other things? Couldn't he just every now and then just sweep the floor or vacuum or do the dishes without me having to point it out, without me having to ask him? I do everything around here. It's like he's impervious. He doesn't even notice. And then he gets all upset at me because I didn't do something else that he wanted me to do. And then now he wants to have intimacy. Does he not understand? That's not interesting to me at all. So the unique role that I'm in, I invite men to try to see it from the female perspective. And I invite women to try to see it from the male perspective. Now, because women for thousands and thousands of years have been the gender that had the babies, they've had to learn how to transcend the wanter and care about others. So the women are more naturally nurturing and caring and looking out for each other. And they can't understand, why do the men not understand this? Why are they so selfish? Why are they so narrowly focused? Well, it's not fair to the women, but it is the women that can help the men to see where they're being selfish, where they're not caring about what goes on around the house, where they're not caring about what goes on with the children, where they are being selfish. That is a tendency. The male mind is more narrowly focused. It hasn't for thousands of years had to transcend the wanter like the female of the two genders has had to learn how to do. Because the women had the babies, even if you're a female and you've never had a baby, you're in a female body that naturally has that DNA handed down through the ages of the female body, of caring about others. More naturally able to multitask and be aware of many things all at once. And having a hard time understanding how the man can't see it how you see it. So it isn't fair to the women, but it is the women that help the men to see what they're not seeing, to learn how to be less selfish. And my role with women is to try to help them understand why the men have this tendency, and that from their point of view, they're under a lot of pressure. The hunt is not easy. It's scary. I'm the one that's expected to protect and provide and make sure everybody is safe and do everything around the house. And I don't get any credit for it. And then when I want what I want, she doesn't give it to me. She withholds what I want as a weapon. This is so unfair, Mitch. How come she's doing this to me? Now, if we can normalize all of this and try to have compassion and understanding for each other, that there is a different wanter dynamic if you're in a male incarnation as compared to if you're in a female incarnation. So as the females, I invite the potential to understand the male orientation that's been handed down through the thousands of years of evolution of the human species. And I try to help the men understand what it's like for the women and how it feels to them that they're doing everything without ever having to be asked around the house. And they would really appreciate it if you, the male, would also notice things without having to be asked. And how much that endears them to you. For the men, it's really helpful to understand that if you can see what really is meaningful to her, what really matters to her, trying to find out what it is that really lets her feel seen and heard and properly honored, she will warm up. She'll be more likely to be interested in intimacy. If, as a male, you're more available to see what it's like for her, to understand what it's like for her, to do things without having to be asked, to help out with things, to honor her and be aware of, try to understand what it's like for a female. And for the women, I invite you to see what it feels like for the males. They feel so much pressure. They feel like they have to be strong. And yet somehow, Mitch, I'm supposed to be strong and capable and provide and protect and be vulnerable and sensitive and notice all the things around the house. What? Mitch, that doesn't make sense to me. So these are some of the characteristics that I've noticed in my unique role of being available to people who are navigating male and female relationships. So we can have more compassion and understanding for each other and learn how to accept that there are unique differences and then help each other try to understand what it's like. So for the female to help the male to understand, and for the male to help the female to understand that there are different characteristics, and that we can celebrate and honor that and let those the benefit of those unique characteristics come together in a very beneficial way. So in every moment, we can learn how to accept. And that doesn't mean that we're a doormat. You know, remember the 3 people in the jungle. Doesn't mean we're the doormat. When our partner is doing something that is really annoying to us, let's stop and take a look. What is it that my wanter is wanting that it's not getting? You know, we can do the first growl practice. Oh, my wanter is wanting him to, you know, notice that he's continuously leaving cups all over the house and never tending to them, and just expects me to handle that. And for him, it would be really wonderful for her to understand that there are ways that he's experiencing reality, where he feels that what he does is never enough. It never gets noticed when he does things, and that no matter what he does, she always nags him and wants more. And if we take a look at these differences and honor them, how might we then open up our communication with each other and help each other to see what we're not seeing about each other? For men to be more open to understand what it's like for their female partner, and for the women to be open and try to understand what it's like from the male mindset as to why they tend to operate in the world the way that they do. So then we can honor each other. We can let the love that we are be ever more liberated with each other, have open dialogue with each other, and be able to have a fine and wonderful adventure together. And maybe there could be less fighting and more coming together. And this is where the practices come in. When we are having a disturbance, if we do the living practice, that can help us to process through what's going on within us. And then we can then explore with our partner the various dynamics that are going on with each other. If we're doing the name that thought practice, we're less getting captured in our mind. If we're doing the loving blessing practice, all the practices can help each person in the relationship to be doing their own inner work, so that then when they come together and explore together, they're tending to their part in it before they automatically blame or go at their partner from their wanter. So this opens up some lovely possibilities for there to be more kindness, more understanding, more patience, more compassion. And then the relationships can flourish and be an adventure together, honoring the unique characteristics of males and females in this buck wild adventure of life on planet Earth.